Because everything she said she thought was right.
Pitiful lie, too.
And as long as you agree with her, she's fine. And it's the same thing with y'all.
Because the only reason a person would behave in this manner.
We're not going to throw this behavior word around again. We're not going to do that. She does not have a behavior problem, and that's not fair.
First of all, your finger in my face is not going to work for me.
But the name calling is not going to work for me. Because I don't appreciate you keep throwing out these names. That is what about my disrespect? All I have been is disrespectful. I've been called. Wait a minute.
Okay, so baby, let me ask you something real quick. What if I told you that Tamar Braxton is not the real problem? Girl, y'all, what if the villain of the Braxton family this entire time has been Miss Evelyn, Miss E herself? Child, before you come for me in the comments, just hear me out because this tea is scalding and it's been brewing for years. Now look, the Braxton family drama, it's been messy, it's been chaotic, it's been everything, okay? And once again, who's at the center of all this chaos? That's right, Tamar. But baby, is it really her fault? Or is there something deeper going on here that we've all been missing? So let's talk about it. Let's get into this mess, girl. Because honey, it's about to get real uncomfortable up in here. Now listen, when it comes to Tamar Braxton, the public has made their opinions very clear, okay? People stay saying she's chaotic, she's attention-seeking, she's always starting drama, she holds grudges like her life depends on it, and baby, her public persona, dramatic doesn't even begin to cover it. Like girl, we've all seen it. The fights, the meltdowns, the social media rants. Tamar has given us everything. But here's where it gets interesting, child. Tamar herself has been saying for years now that she is the way she is because of her mother. Yes, Miss Evelyn. And baby, people just brushed it off like, oh, here she goes again, blaming somebody else. But what if? What if she's been telling the truth this whole time? Now look, Tamar has been very open about her mental health struggles, okay? She's talked about it publicly. She's been vulnerable. And honey, she's been clear about where a lot of this pain comes from. And you know what she keeps pointing back to? Her mother's resentment. Specifically, Miss Evelyn's resentment toward their dad. Tamar has straight up said that growing up in that environment, watching her mother carry all that bitterness, all that anger, all that resentment for years, baby, that affected her deeply.
Letting your mother run your life.
How dare he try to tell me how to raise my kids after he have abandoned us? He has some nerve.
Y'all have lives to live yourself, and she can't run her life, her home, and your home too.
And you know what? Had you been home long enough to help me to raise them, it wouldn't be such a problem. But where were you? Out there hanging in the street,
what did you do
doing
all
whatever
day?
you were
What
big
did you
enough
do
to do.
all day long?
What did you do?
What did you do?
Like, this isn't just about having a bad day or being in your feelings. This is about childhood trauma that shaped who she became as an adult. And girl, when you really think about it, it starts to make sense. Now listen, let's be real for a second because Tamar has absolutely given us the content over the years, okay? Child, this woman has provided us with everything. Relationship drama with Vince? Check. Drama with JR? Check. Fighting with her sisters on national television? Baby, the whole forest is on fire at this point. And most recently, girl, y'all. She threw Funky Deneva under the bus, someone who was supposed to be her friend. She implied that she may have been attacked, which is serious. And then on TOP of all that, there are allegations that she allegedly slept with some of Tony's men. Tony's men, girl. Her own sister's men.
Steal anything.
You don't. You stole men.
Who's the man that I stole?
Tony's. You slept with them a few times.
Who? What man?
You not get the link.
Bitch. Dirty low down ass bitch.
Oh, you're such a liar. Such a liar.
Like, baby, when I tell you the mess is deep, the mess is thick, the mess is unmanageable at this point. Now here's the thing, child. Years ago, Tamar's behavior was entertaining. People loved her. She was a fan favorite. The drama, the one-liners, the Reed's baby, she was television gold. But honey, in recent years, the fans have changed their tune. And they've changed it quickly. Now people are saying she's gotten more toxic. They're saying she needs help. They're saying she's exhausting to watch. Girl, they're saying she never sees herself as wrong. She never takes accountability. And baby, she's almost 50 years old and still falling out with everybody she knows. Like, child, the public perception is slipping, okay? And people genuinely think at this point that she's never going to change. They think this is just who she is and who she's always going to be. And baby, that's SAD. But here's where Tamar pushes back, girl. She's been saying, Y'all want to blame me for everything? Y'all want to act like I'm the problem? Well, let me tell you something, Miss Evelyn is the root of all this. And baby, she's not just throwing her mama's name out there for fun. Tamar has been specific. She's saying that all the sisters carry bitterness and resentment from their childhood. She's saying that the way they were raised, the environment they grew up in, the things they witnessed, that is what shaped them into the women they are today. And here's the kicker, child. Tamar is the only one openly connecting their behavior to Evelyn's parenting. The other sisters, they stay quiet. They act like everything is fine. But Tamar, baby, she's putting it all on the table. And honey, people are starting to listen. So let's talk about Miss Evelyn and Michael Sr.'s divorce, girl, because this is where it all starts. Now listen, they've been divorced for over 20 years at this point. Over 20 years, baby. And Miss Evelyn still holds deep resentment toward that man. Like child, she has not let it go. And that bitterness, that anger, that resentment, baby, it set the tone for how all those daughters handle hurt, conflict, and disappointment in their own lives.
Evelyn could say some things out her mouth that are really cutting.
But your daughters are being held emotionally hostage to your ex-wife's bitterness towards you. You and her need to get on the same side of the table and free those girls. Because the elephant in the room that nobody will talk about is Evelyn Braxton's attitude.
Because here's the thing. Girl children don't just SEE anger. They absorb it. They learn from it. They carry it with them into adulthood.
I don't even think they look at me as a sister. They don't like me. We were very close as kids, very close as young adults. And now where we are in our lives, that relationship no longer serves us. And I would hate to keep arguing with them and keep building negative memories instead of building and relying and thinking of the good memories that we had.
So when Tamar talks about holding grudges, being defensive, lashing out, where do you think she learned that from? Exactly. Miss Evelyn was the blueprint child. Now listen, people love to act like Tony is the classy one, right? Like she's above all the mess. But baby, let me tell you something, Tony is just as messy as the rest of them. She's just quieter about it. She moves different. But honey, the mess is still there. Because at the end of the day, girl, they all grew up in the same house. They all had the same mother. They all witnessed the same dysfunction. So no, Tony is not exempt. None of them are. They were all affected by that environment, whether they want to admit it or not. Now, child, let's get into the real tea about Miss Evelyn's parenting because baby, it was toxic. Like capital T, capital O, capital X-I-C, toxic. During the divorce, Miss Evelyn forced those kids to pick sides. She made them choose between her and their father. And honey, that is damaging. That is manipulative. And then there's Tamar, the youngest. Baby girl was caught in the middle of all this, and she heavily sided with her mother. And over time, girl, Tamar's dependency on Evelyn just grew stronger and stronger. She became her mother's emotional support child. And honey, that's a burden no child should ever have to carry.
Because everything she said she thought was right.
Pitiful lie, too.
And as long as you agree with her, she's fine. And it's the same thing with y'all. If y'all don't agree with her, she is pissed. And it's time for y'all to stop letting your mother run your life.
Now listen, Miss Evelyn loved, and I mean loved being right. She loved controlling the narrative. She loved being in charge. And if you disagreed with her, baby, she would shut you down. She would guilt trip those girls by reminding them that she raised 6 kids alone. 6 kids, girl. And honey, she used that as a weapon. She made them feel like they owed her something, like they could never question her. Like they had to just accept whatever she said because of everything she sacrificed. And Tamar, child, Tamar grew up completely unable to challenge her mother's authority. She learned to just fall in line, keep her mouth shut, and do what mama said. And baby, that kind of upbringing creates deep psychological issues that don't just go away. Even now, Miss Evelyn's hatred and bitterness still spill into the family dynamic. It's like a poison that just keeps spreading, girl, and it affects everything.
Let me know if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So looking at Tina Knowles and her children, and looking at Evelyn Braxton and her girl, it's proof to me that forgiveness or unforgiveness and bitterness can trickle down to your kids. I feel like Tina Knowles is the reason why Solange and Beyonce are able to persevere and press through adversity with grace and poise. I know this is a weird way to put it, but Beyonce and Solange was able to see their parents go through a healthy divorce. Even Miss Tina acknowledged that they did not go back and forth. And honestly, she had every reason to be bitter and not forgive him for having an outside baby on her. And then on the other hand, we can look at Miss Evelyn Braxton and see why her daughters are still on each other's neck in their 40s and 50s.
Now, here's where things get interesting, baby, because the public is starting to see what Tamar has been saying all along. People are agreeing with her take now. They're saying Miss Evelyn set the tone for disrespect, emotional damage, and toxic communication in that family. They're saying she represents so many toxic mothers out there who raise scarred adult women. Women who struggle with relationships, boundaries, self-worth, all because of how they were raised. And girl, people are finally admitting that the Braxton family has always been toxic, and Miss Evelyn has been at the center of it this entire time. They're saying the sisters don't actually like each other, they just tolerate each other for the cameras and the checks. And Tamar, baby, she becomes the scapegoat because she's loud. She's the one who says what everyone else is thinking. She's the one who won't pretend everything is fine. And honey, that makes her the villain in everyone's eyes, even though she might just be the most honest one of them all. So baby, now that we've laid all this tea out on the table, I want to know, what do you think? Is Tamar really the problem, or has Miss Evelyn been the true villain of the Braxton family this whole time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, girl, because I want to hear everything. Do you think Tamar has a point? Do you think she's just making excuses? Or do you think there's some truth to what she's been saying all these years? And listen, if you made it this far, baby, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you haven't already, because honey, we're serving TEA on this channel every single week.
Letting your mother run your life.
How dare he try to tell me how to raise my kids after he have abandoned us? He has some nerve.
Y'all have lives to live yourself, and she can't run her life, her home, and your home too.
And you know what? Had you been home long enough to help me to raise them, it wouldn't be such a problem. But where were you? Out there hanging in the street,
what did you do
doing
all
whatever
day?
you were
What
big
did you
enough
do
to
all
do.
day long?
What did you do?
What did
And
you
what
do?
did you
Let me know if you're picking up what I'm putting down. So looking at Tina Knowles and her children, and looking at Evelyn Braxton and her girl, it's proof to me that forgiveness or unforgiveness and bitterness can trickle down to your kids. I feel like Tina Knowles is the reason why Solange and Beyonce are able to persevere and press through adversity with grace and poise. I know this is a weird way to put it, but Beyonce and Solange was able to see their parents go through a healthy divorce. Even Miss Tina acknowledged that they did not go back and forth. And honestly, she had every reason to be bitter and not forgive him for having an outside baby on her. And then on the other hand, we can look at Miss Evelyn Braxton and see why her daughters are still on each other's neck in their 40s and 50s.